There's a lot of pride here on the line, but nothing I think we need to defend in numbers. I think we're more than capable of showing you guys what real tank play looks like. And to be honest, coming into this one, I wouldn't be surprised if actually Fusion have looked across at Hurricane and they get an idea immediately exactly what they're coming up against.
All right, well, Fusion University, they kind of knew this might be happening in the Hurricane.
Wait, please, Hurricane. If they roll out with literally 6 tanks for that first push, just to again give you guys a bit of a chance and have a bit of fun, they earn my respect forever.
I mean, why go quad tank when you can go 6 tank? Just with, oh no, okay.
Oh, guys, please, just once.
They're not going, but
no.
Bit
of change, never mind. So speak to me then, you catch these guys a lot. What do you expect them to bring to Ilios?
What do we expect Fusion to bring to Ilios? I think it's going to be more of the same, where you have who are you working on the flank. Zachary's going to be a distraction looking for hacks, and unit-based Halo dies early. Who are you's going to take advantage of his sacrifice.
Looks like the EU are going for the old debate once again, switching over themselves to go for the Sombracer drivers we've taken to calling it. Let's see how your boys stack up against ours.
Zachary going to be setting up the translocate escape path. Who are you flanking on the outside? Beast Halo not going in too deep. Who are you almost getting booped off into the pit? Fusion not able quite to get deep in on Hurricane here. Now Hurricane going to turn the tables, diving on the other side. Alarm is down, and the Hurricane winds are sweeping on through. School might be canceled. Here's a Hurricane looking to grab this first point.
It's a snow day. They're getting pushed aside by the Hurricane, and Alarm. He's the guy you guys speak about an awful lot, but he is nothing for a storm of this caliber.
That is terrifying. A Hurricane that's also bringing snow. I mean, it's going to bring blizzard and winds. Everything would be destroyed.
There's a real nice link here to Blizzard as a company up above all this one as well. Just being Hurricane. I'm looking now towards the storm that Craggy is going to bring now that he's got hold of this pulse bomb. Going to be looking for those key members in the back line. He did say to us Alarm is the one Zen he really fears when looking at the NA region. Let's see how Alarm faces off against a pulse bomb.
Well, meanwhile, you have Kib right now on the flank looking for Alarm. Alarm might have more things to worry about here. The flanks are on the top, and Alarm already down. Meanwhile, on the other side, though, Fusions was punished for it as Who Are You gets to work. This is Who Are You in cleanup duty. So deadly in the NA region, and now the Hurricane get a taste, and Crusade goes down. That clip all on target.
Who Are You really popping off there and just reminding us here in EU that actually there are some stellar Tracer players elsewhere in the world as well. I've got a feel for Alarm because watching the first 3 fights, you know exactly what happened in their pre-team talk. It was like, guys, Alarm, dead. He does not get to play Overwatch today.
Alarm is feeling like a marked man right now, or a marked Omnic as it will. He's going to be going further and further back, almost might be in a spawn if British Hurricane continue to dive on him like that. But now, the next fight underway, Craggy. Well, dancing around the side, has to back away from Who Are You. Fusion still in control of the point. You see Craggy trying to check Who Are You as Kib comes on the other side. EMP ready, drops the EMP on the top side, and that might be enough for the Hurricane. It gives him the edge in the fight, but Who Are You is still around. You can't ignore the sprint.
Absolutely. Craggy is doing a bit of a dance to the 2 DPS here while the rest of the team cleans up. And this will be another Hurricane 1 fight, but they haven't yet caught the point back, CP.
Who Are You is living on the edge and finally ends up falling down. But to your point, the Hurricane have not retaken this yet. Fusion are delaying all the while, and that is good news for them. Even as British Hurricane were winning this fight heavily, it means they have to invest the barrier before they can take the fight. And Fusion right now, more than content to fight a losing fight, but one where they still have control.
They managed to get themselves back in with the EMP, and then of course the Primal Rage coming out of Beast Halo was enough to win it back, but it's going to be a boot down as Crusade falls down into the well.
Elk treating Crusade to the bottom of Ilios that time, and Fusion University, they go from delay to victory, able to prevent control from flipping over, and now Hurricane, they're in a rough spot.
They absolutely are. Fusion's bringing out the Primal Range here, just trying to keep everyone at bay to give his team some space, but the kill feed is still going red as Fusion are cleaning up Hurricane.
Fusion putting on the pressure here, and the Hurricane that was starting out as Category 5 might now just be a tropical storm, if that. Gonna be down to their final fight.
Bit of a rough start to them at least. You got to give as well to Fusion University a great stall out on the point to make sure they never gave it over to Hurricane. They got 5% to go, and Craggy gets the opening kill onto Zachary.
Zachary already out of the fight. Here comes Hurricane. It might be upgrading or some warm tropical water as Kib about to get the EMP. Alarm under assault looks for it, but he transcends out of danger. Kib gonna have to wait for this EMP. Waiting. The rest of his team still alive, but for how long? Drops the EMP and Alarm, I don't think got tagged. Alarm was able to get off the other end. Nice movement from Alarm. Craggy, though, still a threat. Trying to chase down Who Are You. The pressure is in, and yet Who Are You escapes. Hurricane, though, they've gotten the better end of this fight, and even though Alarm's still alive, he's not alive for long. Who Are You? Peekaboo off on the other side, but the Hurricane should be able to retake, and they do.
They do finally, but it's still at that 99% point, and we heard Elk on the desk say they thrive in those 99-99 fights of a Hurricane. They are heading towards that point. They've got another 50% capture to go before they get there. I've got to give it to you guys. Fusion University definitely stacking up against it, but this is on your turf. This is playing this dive that we've been speaking about so often. So far, matching up pretty well.
Well, you know what? You might have the royalty, but right now, you guys are the ones bending the knee to the North American meta. That's all I'm seeing right now. It's Fusion University.
All a ruse.
Look, Fusion University in a good spot here. Zachary holding on to the EMP, going to be looking for his opportunity to just drop it off on the other side. Hurricane's going to have to play around that. There's the barrier in early. The EMP was out, and Fusion's out of the fight. Fusion striking in deeply. Hurricane can have to fight this back with a two-man disadvantage, and Crusade fades out, uses Coalescence, but is just shot in the back. Who are you? Once more in cleanup duty, and Fusion well on their way to taking this first round.
They absolutely are there. There comes the recap. Only 10% left for Hurricane, but there's no one around to contest this point right now. Craggy's going to do what he can to try and hold this down with Fusion. He has the primal range for the stall, so there is still time here for ZP for the EU to get back into this fight.
There he goes!
Double!
This is Overwatch as he boops him into the pit. I like to think he just kicked him on in, and the British Hurricane come on back. Astro with an astronomically hero play at the last moment in Fusion. They're on the brink. Alarm has to transcend back in.
Still trying to get the way in there as well. Who Are You is back in the fight, trying to focus down those supports once again. Astro, no more boots for you, my friends. Who Are You has the answer.
Oh, goodness. It's Who Are You coming back in, getting the cleanup right one way. The miracle might be over for the Hurricane here as Fusion get control of the point. They get rid of all the stragglers, and round one goes to the Fusion.
Ending it out with a team kill as well. Impressive stuff. And I gotta say, a quick bit of note there. Astro, he's taking the place of Crusade. Crusade usually takes the place of Astro. In this case, Bok has been dropped by the team, and they're playing Astro and Crusade together. So a bit of a change up to the usual style of play for Hurricane, opting to try something a little bit different here, maybe to try and throw off the scent from their North American counterparts.
I mean, the other option is that Bok is a superhero. We know he's a doctor already. He's actually off saving lives. We're just playing some Overwatch.
He's on standby first aid for when NA lose categorically at the end of this series.
Ouch. I don't even have a comeback for that one. That actually burns.
You're not allowed to board a plane unless you are healthy, so we've got to make sure you guys are ready to go home.
Look, I just got to say this much. Let's see if that is actually the case, because it might just be protecting his own team, knowing that they're going to need the CPR at the very end. Fusion University, though, up and ready as we move in to the outside, and oh boy.
You ready, ZP? Are you ready? It's the EU special. We're taking this seriously now. We're going to show you what EU quad tank really looks like.
Well, right now it looks like they're going to be ignoring the point as Fusion University goes, all right, we're going to get all
you wait for this Lucio speed boost, my friend, and that's when it's all going to kick off.
You know this is going to be bad if Elk just boops him into the water, right?
This would be beautiful if he does. He's going to try.
He's going for it.
No.
Oh, doesn't quite get it, but Fusion is ready to pounce immediately. They knew exactly what the Hurricane were up to here. Hurricane going to be getting directly onto the point, and Cracklacken got half pulled to back early on. Now a key piece of the quad tank already in trouble, but Cracklacken goes down on the other side. The British Hurricane growing in power here on the point, spinning rapidly, and Kid under pressure, but still able to get healed up, and the quad tank of the British Hurricane does get first control.
They absolutely do manage to a nice grab landing at the end. Not quite needed, as Crusade is the one who pops off with that Coalescence, bringing back down both Alarm and Who Are You. First fight being won by the Hurricane, but for Fusion University, Zachary has got that EMP online.
And Zachary is down, not able to get a chance to use it as Craggy snipes him right out of the air. A little bit of help from Kib along the way. And Fusion University gonna have to wait for him to come back in tune, but the EMP could be big in dealing with this.
I mean, the players have spoke to each other a lot over the last few days, and the NA teams know that all the EU teams like to fall back to this very tank-heavy play. I'm very curious to see if we see any adaptation to try and deal with this. I'm very curious to see if we see any Genji come out. I don't expect it, but there comes the EMP.
EMP out from Zachary. Fusion trying to capitalize, and no, they just lose to immediately. The counter engaged Craggy. The Graviton ruining their day. They're not able to get what they want there. Instead, they just get swung on by Fusion. And Who Are You? He can't believe it. He's going swimming.
Actually, I think had his pulse bomb eaten there by Happy Cool towards the end of that fight, was hoping to bring down one of the big tanks, but was not quite going to happen. So it feels almost like the Hurricane has said to University, okay, we'll come play on your turf, we'll come play your dive-based compositions, and then we're going to show you what a real composition looks like.
Well, we'll see if they can carry that into the next round. Of course, round after this would be Ruins. And for now, though, Fusion still fighting for the Lighthouse stage. They're going to drop on down off the top. Beast Halo needs a Primal Rage early and does, looking for some boops off the edge. Crusade already down the engine of the quad tank. It's what keeps it alive. Fusion drops a hammer, but on what? Just hits the floor. And Fusion now moving their way in. They're going to take this fight and likely the point.
Absolutely do. They managed to clear out all the tanks. Getting rid of Astro was a big advantage for these guys as well, and they will finally take the point back. Hurricane now, I expect to see what we see out of a lot of European teams when it comes to quad tank, is you stack up some of those ultimates and you go for that one big retake at the very end.
Well, actually, their faith in quad tank has failed.
Finished.
They are now swapping back off to a bit of a mirror composition here, so the threat quad tank is over, but it has given them an edge.
Absolutely has. Let's see if Craggy and Kib can stack up against Zachary, because to be honest with you, we've seen him in the last round really popping off on the McCree, and I'm confident he can do the same thing here on the... Why is that name completely gone in my head?
Crusade.
No. The purple Sombra, that's the one.
The EMP off the other side, and who are you? Connects. The pulse bomb takes down 2, and Fusion well prepared for Hurricane's imitation of the dive.
Imitation, it does feel like at this point. Definitely not as successful as Fusion University, but when you guys have been playing this in Contenders all this time, I imagine there's a lot of opportunity to practice, rehearse, and make sure you know how to perfect this dive. After all, that is why they are the NA champions, as we saw not too long ago.
Well, Hurricane, as the EU champion, still might have some tricks up their sleeve. They have some time left, but they have to deal with a huge ult bank up for Fusion University right now.
They do, alarm with that Transcendence as well as the sound barrier. As long as they don't double stack these together, then they have a lot of resource to make this work out for them. And we always speak about the D.Va self-destruct being a great zone denier. That's a lot of zone control coming through for Fusion University.
Well, now Fusion, they're going to open up at the barrier first. Elk leads the way. They don't want to use the Transcendence unless it's absolutely necessary, but the barrier's gone. They haven't got any kills. Alarm, you got to Transcend right now. The save, Crack-Lacken, and no, he's going to get D-Mech. The Transcendence still not used. Elk is already down. It would be a late Transcend now. Alarm still holds it. Beast Halo looks for the knockoff, not able to get it. And the Hurricane swooping on in, perhaps about to take control of this fight.
Absolutely, but the longer this fight goes on, the more it's going to start favoring out the diving fields here. But for Craggy bringing down Zachary, that is a big pickoff. And Fusion's with his ultimate online, the Primal Rage, is going to tear apart the team. Hurricane is sweeping through University and showing them what's what.
The shingles are flying off the rooftops right now as the Hurricane breeze on through. They're going to take control of the point, and we're going to round number 3.
That's how you like to start any series off, right? No one likes a 2-0. It's got to be balanced and fair. It's got to show the true merit of both of these teams, both champions in their own right. I'm very curious to see how this plays out in the third round of Ilios.
It's going to be interesting, and going back to that last fight, it was a little bit uncharacteristic from Alarm, where Alarm usually is very in tune with support ults there, but he was late on using his Transcendence, and as a result, Fusion was not able to maintain their control on the point. By the time he used it, the damage had been done, and British Hurricane was able to win a fight that was honestly looking pretty grim on the onset.
You're right, and you even called it out yourself. You said for Beast Halo, he was going pretty low, and you thought Alarm was going to pop the Transcendence, but it didn't come through, so a bit of miscommunication potentially in the mix of that. Or maybe Alarm was more aware of another threat that was coming through soon. But Hurricane, it's time for that ride, boys. It's that final quad tank coming through to try and close out Ilios. They've got to face off against Zachary's Widowmaker.
Yeah, I was going to say, Fusion University, they teach classes in Smug Purple Lady.
Excellent.
It's actually a real class, and that is the exact name because really the attitude is part of how you play it. And for now, the Hurricane, they're hiding out here once more. It did work out for them on the previous stage where they're going to wait, speed boost out all at the same time while healed up. They're giving Fusion plenty of time to set up. What they're not giving Fusion is the sightlines for Zachary's Widow, where they will get first control of the point very quickly here. Beast Halo barely escaping with his life.
This is what Quad Tank does very well, as it gets the ground it wants to take and it stays there. The real question comes in when you've been there for 5, 10, 15 seconds. Can you hold down the pressure coming in from the other side? We're going to need a lot of focused aggression from Fusion University to shut down the Hurricane here, and already they've found Happy Cool.
Happy Cool is down, and now it's a project where you see the Hurricane all grouping together, trying to keep up that critical mass. Zachary working around the outskirts, looking for anyone that can headshot in the moment. Elk, though, barely able to escape death. Alarm already out of it, and Fusion starting to bleed members, bleed some health as they try and take out the Hurricane, who's starting to reform.
Feels like they actually figured out where Zachary might be there with a nice getaway. Oh, that's a grab from Kip. There's the roadblock from EU. We've all been waiting to see, and he finds himself shut down. Gotta say as well, the last thing I ever expected to see was a Widowmaker coming head-to-head with a Reinhardt. That was the weirdest thing I've seen all the Contenders.
Look, sometimes you gotta just channel your inner battle Widow. You go, I'm not afraid of your hammer. I have a machine gun, and oh God, what have I done? I had too much to drink last night. Fusion University, though, on the way back in. 56%. Who are you's down? Kim gets Who Are You just with a simple right click at the right moment. That delays Fusion so much.
It's the same as what we see with teams like Angry Titans from EU. The quad tank works because you have such big Roadhog players who are capable of landing these clutch hooks that shut down these more annoying mobile heroes like the Tracer, like the Sombra, or in some cases we saw even a fleeing Widowmaker.
There's EMP early on here from Alarm, trying to set Fusion. They need to take advantage quickly, but oh, Astro was not in it. He drops the sound barrier to save the Hurricane in and on the moment. However, that wasn't the only trick up the Fusion sleeve. The self-destruct came in at the same time, and Who Are You? Once more in garbage man mode, moving around the outskirts, taking out people on the side, but the Hurricane, they're fighting through this. They're not giving Who Are You quite the same opportunities. Kim gonna be D-meching Crack and takes, almost
Lily!
off. He's taken down. Fusion still fighting this tooth and nail.
They absolutely are, but Astro has found himself a couple of headshots onto both tanks in the midst of all this fighting, and Who Are You manages to get one back onto Fusions, but at this point, it's still blue at this time. ZP and Fusion are doing their best to fight this back. Here comes a big Graviton Surge, locking everyone in place. It's a double kill for Astro. Crusade even throws in and gives his pence. That's going to be a win for British Hurricane, and they are reminding NA that EU plays tanks down well.
And right now, the impossible might be happening. A hurricane has formed, and it's over Philadelphia. The Fusion have certainly been caught off guard here. First map going the way of the Hurricane. And bear in mind, we did talk in the preamble how strong Fusion has been on these control maps. So the fact that Hurricane was able to come in and take this one away and use that quad tank to good success, it's surprising, but it is very promising if you're rooting for EU to take the show match.
I'd almost love to see this go the full distance so we can play Nepal, because Hurricane are very much so regarded for their triple DPS setup on Sanctum. I would love to see how Fusion handle that.
Also, don't forget, I mean, Fusion, they do like map number 5. Maybe this is part of their grand strategy. We're like, well, we need to spawn this map and then another map. Then we can go to map 5 where we're actually truly comfortable in winning.
Quite possibly. There's only one way to find out, though. That's to get into these future maps. And I'm very curious to see how we start moving, because Control, it's all about those team fights. It's generally quite a lot of mobility coming through. When we get into things like Hybrid and Escort, that's when you're really going to start seeing Quad Tank coming down in some depth. And I feel sorry for your sanity already, my friends.
Well, I might be losing it as we go on, but if you want to see it, stay tuned. Still more to come in this match.
Good job, my man.
There's a storm warning out for the pride of North America as their dignity has taken a ding. British Hurricane starting out here with a 1-0 lead over the Fusion University. And I gotta say, EU has been really saying we play quad tank better, and so far it's looking to be the case.
Absolutely, and it's probably worth mentioning some backstage information for you guys. We were sat here just now and Zeefy was essentially sat in his chair like, not like this, and the Hurricane guys are sat next to us and they're like, this is fantastic. This is what we've been waiting to see, because right now your mental sanity is probably about as stable as this box which I'm standing on, and the answer to that is not very.
No, it's not. I mean, you could really just fall off at any time, much like EU could fall off at any time during this match, as we do expect Fusion University to bounce back. They were playing really well earlier today, and I don't think you can run quad tank against them this entire time.
Potentially not, but we all said that coming into week 1 and into week 2, and then in week 3 of EU Contenders we were like, you know what, these guys are going to run quad tank the whole map wherever they can, and they make it work. And we mentioned this yesterday, and what we saw in the NA semi-finals was that for Toronto they switched off quad tank as soon as it failed once. EU teams will stick it out 3, 4, 5 fights in until they get that big ult stack.
Yes, but in NA we have a different tale. Did you ever hear about the tragic story of Bye Week the Unwon? They ran a lot of quad tank. They never won a series. Just letting you know. So we have our own legacy of quad tank in North America.
Well, I'd like to formally invite you guys to come over here and have a boot camp with us sometimes. It'll be a very long, arduous week full of defeats, but I'm sure you'll learn a lot.
You know what? I'm with you up until the defeat point here, where maybe we would just change your mind of thinking and get you to play, you know, similar to how other leagues do, like this thing called Overwatch League, where you don't see a whole lot of quad tank there.
What can I say, man? Being a conformist is boring. You got to play your own stuff and become inventive and creative. Or you can stop and copy everyone else. Entirely up to you guys. We'll leave you to decide on that one. But heading into Numbani, this is definitely a map, if nothing else, that calls for some dive, and more importantly, gives Who Are You an opportunity to shine on this Genji.
And of course, Who Are You? His Genji has been his signature hero, where when you put him in this live environment where you don't give him the what should be a competition-induced handicap of 150 ping, does pretty well. Doesn't even need a blade to go in and get 3-4 kills at a time.
The real question is when you come up against a few tanks, how do you respond? Because if you go charging in on Genji, it works great into like a dive-based competition where once the enemy team's tanks have moved or used their movement abilities to dive or to counter-dive in some cases, you then have all the freedom to choose what you do next, and it's that quick decision-making for guys like Who Are You that can really make a key difference. I'm just concerned that he won't find as much room as he's hoping for here against the Hurricane.
One thing he does have to be really careful of that he hasn't to deal with much today is the threat of the Roadhog, where if you're not paying attention to the Roadhog, you think everything's going to be okay, well, you can get a hook that brings you on in and ruins your day. So Who Are You? It has to be careful around the Roadhog, and we've actually seen in North America that certain things that he doesn't play against very often can very much mess him up, where there was one match where a Torbjorn turret actually just stopped him entirely.
Impressive, and we see in EU an awful lot, a number of Torbjorns on the first point, and the crowd are drumming them up as well. The players are ready, we're into game. I'm very curious to see how Craggy plays on this Roadhog as well, because normally that's a Kip special, but he's being put onto this Genji to try and run that distracting style of play, you might say, just by contesting the high ground. But for now, he's going to stick on the low ground. They're going to storm onto point.
Going to be a bunch of tanks coming out of the tunnel. Craggy on the Roadhog, of course, looking for Who Are You? British Hurricane almost getting a tick for free right now. Fusion going to have to come in and contest. The hook, though, off cooldown. Cracklacken dancing around the point, on it just enough to keep the contest going up. But the Hurricane, they're looking pretty good right now. Half a pool, living on the edge of life and death, healed right on up. And now, they've got one tick, they're about to get two. Fusion, when are you going to move in? Who Are You already has a blade? That's what they've been waiting for here. He has to come in with it soon. He knows there's not going to be an ult to deal with it, or does he? Bach real close to Transcendence. Beast Halo and Cracklacken are down, and it's a late blade from Who Are You that probably won't get much done, as Bach got the Transcendence just in time.
He manages to get the one, but it wasn't even the back of the blade, because he just could not burn through that Transcendence. But it feels like Hurricane have managed to get the point here, and even with this big Genji player in Who Are You with a nano boost, it's not enough to stop this British Hurricane tank setup.
I gotta say here, EU said that they're gonna be taking North America on one last ride. Well, this is the second map, this is ride number 2, and I'm not sure Fusion is enjoying this ride.
And neither are you. I can just see the mentality of this man next to me slowly fall into tatters, because he knows for the next season you are going to see so much more tank play in North America.
No, no.
Why?
I'm channeling my inner Michael Scott right now. No. Well, we're in point 2 Numbani. British Hurricane looking to keep up their momentum. Kib has the Dragon Blade at the ready, and they have tools here even as Half Cool takes a nap. This entire thing bores him.
It does, man. It's a bit too easy for him right now.
Really hate that you might be right now. As the Hurricane looking to come back in, and Craggy blown right up. Zachary off on the side, and now this is the opportunity that Fusion might have been waiting for. The self-destruct on the other end, sent up by half goal. God, who are you? The threat is out, and Kim still can hang on to the Dragon Blade here. Waiting. He's going to get knocked away. He's deciding to get out of the fight. But the Hurricane keeps the payload going forward, and Kim hunting down the survivors. There will be no quarter. Moving on in, takes down 3. One of the best plays we've seen from Kim all day.
We see your who are you, we raise you a Kib. And Kib has the answer. Like I say, when you've got these dive-based compositions, you are given so much more time to get into the backline and just tear them apart. It's a lot different for him, and he's probably actually celebrating right now, saying, guys, I actually managed to get more than 1 kill on my blade for the first time probably in the last 6 weeks because I never had this amount of freedom.
You're not wrong.
You can hear the chants out front. Do it with us. It's one last ride. One last ride. They're going for the quad tank.
Get me off EU's wild ride. Fusion University, though, they can't seem to get away from this unstoppable momentum of the Hurricane. Elk hooked on in, taken on out. And that's a big blow early on to start out this fight. Zachary, though, on the other side, gets a D-Mac on the half-beam. Here's the blade from Who Are You, going back down the other side. Gets one, and the explosion from Cracklacken going to be making enough space towards the other end. Fusion University gets stabilized on the body last.
Yeah, they do manage to push it back, so a small victory for NA, but the war looks like so far it's going in favor of the Hurricane. These pushes have been pretty devastating, and even for Elk, we speak a lot about this guy and his Ana, saying it's one of the best that we see in NA contenders. When you got 4 tanks being boosted for by Lucio, chances are you won't be walking from that one away from that one alive.
No, you probably will not, as British Hurricane going to be coming up here once more in this moment. They know that they won't have to deal as much, but what they don't realize is that Elk actually already has a nano boost up here again. They're going to be going off the left side. We'll catch things off guard. Hook, not going to connect. Half a Colt taking a nap off that early sleep dart, and it's Who Are You off the nano boost, trying to build things up. And Beast Halo doesn't Primal Rage in time. However, Fusion still has Hurricane literally in a corner, and Elk got 2 as Ana.
He's just sitting there saying, I've had enough of this stuff. You guys get out of my yard now. I've no more of this EU quad tank business in my backyard, and does manage to detract them at least for now. Even with that nano boost coming through onto Who Are You, he's still at 55% and they have that blade online. They've got the trans, they've got that primal rage that they didn't bring out in the last fight, but there are options for Hurricane. They've got 5 ultimates. You are about to witness the critical mass of quad tank.
What Hurricane needs right now is a good earth shower. Now, Fusions let down the hammer, and they go for Beast Halo, but there's Alarm. Brings down the prayers, keeps Beast Halo alive, and Who Are You going to bring out a blade of his own, but it's dealt with reasonably well by the Hurricane. The barrier means that Who Are You gets nothing except a hammer straight to the grill, but the self-destruct on the other side, pushing Hurricane back. Kim, a little bit of love to Beast Halo, pulls him on in, but the Hurricane are standing strong. Kim might be down, but the rest of them all up.
Crackalacking with the nano boost, just trying to get in the middle and make things happen, but it's not to be as it seems to feel. He gets the 1 kill. Here comes the Graviton Surge, who's going to lock him in place, bring him down. Hurricane are on course to complete Numbani with a solid final fight.
This would be a ridiculously fast time. Fusion struggling to breathe right now. Alarm coming in with the late Transcendence as the Hurricane move on through. Pure power coursing through Dr. Bach right now. However, Fusion University starting to get the kills they need. Alarm piling on, and here comes Who Are You. He's on the Doom Fist. A punch to the face. He's had enough. His rage can't be contained. It's pure fisticuffs right now for the Fusion, and it's actually working out.
It is so far. They're holding them back, but Beast Taylor's going to get dropped down after he brings Kib for himself, and out comes the self-destruct on the point as well, just to push them back momentarily. Fusions will go down, and University will manage to push British Hurricane back once again.
Who Are You deciding, you know what, you guys might be British, we're going to have a gentlemanly battle, a little bit of boxing the good old-fashioned way.
Well, we haven't brought our Brock's Boxer to the ring yet, so he's kind of punching at smoke right now. We've got to try and change that around and match him on this one. But we're saying, you know what, we like our fist quad tank size. There are 4 fingers to a hand. There are 4 tanks in this composition. We're going to show you what's going to happen, and they're not far away from Craggy's Graviton Surge.
And you're right, the Graviton here is going to be big. Craggy, though, has to be able to shoot it off.
Doofus.
I have not seen this before. Nano Doofus punches and goes to the sky. Meteor strike. Up we go. Down we go. Doesn't quite get the kill. And oh no, that's what OWC. Graviton is self-destruct. Hurricane deals with it masterfully. A big boom and a bigger play. The Hurricane now on the verge of pushing this one right in. Doomfist, I'd love to see you, but you're gone. The Hurricane set a quick time here on Numbani.
We clearly agree with you there, ZP, on having the gentleman's agreement of saying we're going to play this properly now. We're going to show you how real gentlemen handle a game of Overwatch and push themselves through to completion. But you've got to give some props over to Fusion University. They burnt a good 2 minutes of the time back there on that final point.
which you need to do on last point Numbani. I would say Numbani is won and lost more often than not on your last point play, whether it be your attack or your defense. It's rarely decided on first and second. But now, we swap sides. The Hurricane, we get to see their defensive chops. The Fusion go to the attack.
I'd like to see how they do with Hyoyu on this Genji once again, because despite being shut down by the heavy tank-based competition out of Hurricane, he did have a couple earlier on in the round that actually looked quite promising. And Hurricane time and time again have ran Bok on the Ana and they have played Kib on the Soldier. Whether or not they choose to opt for that, or if they are just taking this to the full meme extent they possibly can and milking it for all it's worth, who knows? We'll find out in about 60 seconds.
I mean, it is hard to tell how much of this is Hurricane running this because they think it's the best strategy, or how much it's like, you guys don't know how to deal with this, so we're just gonna run it. You guys might be out of juice from your final, but we've had time to relax, have a little bit of catering, and have sensible chuckles to ourselves about, oh God. Oh no.
Oh, well, I was about to say, they're going to try and hide and go for some... Maybe they are. We'll find out and see in a second. But it's almost like this is dessert served to Hurricane on a platter. They're just saying, you know what? It's time for us to get our final meal before this event draws to a close. And Fusion University, you're looking pretty tasty right now.
Yeah, and you know the thing that troubles me, this is going to work.
You know it's going to work as well.
No, this is probably going to work. This is going to be the old school train wreck strategy. Fusion doesn't have a Hanzo to scout it out. Oh boy, here comes the surprise no one likes. It's your birthday, and you wish you weren't invited.
Well, let's see if this pain train does roll through. And they, of course, always with the Lucio on side, makes it so easy for this comp to jump onto the appropriate member. Zachary with a very smart scout, but here they come.
Help, everyone in! Go through, I pick up, uh-oh. Fusion was prepared, Fusion knew what was happening here. Craggy's down immediately, but the rest of the Hurricane, oh Fusion! My goodness, Fusions, swing, and everyone's hitting the deck. The hammer didn't even have to touch the ground, and the Hurricane turned that fight around in spades, and now they get to run back victorious with an Earth Shatter in hand.
And just about to have the Coalescence on side as well. Craggy getting about 10% ult charge off that fight, while Fusion is like, hey, here's a fully charged ultimate for you right now. He's going to switch over to the Tracer though, so maybe it was more of a initial fight surprise they wanted to bring. Just to remind NA that quad tank is a thing, in case they forgot from about 60 seconds prior.
Well, you know what, if they forgot, they might forget again, because I'm pretty sure they got concussion from that Reinhardt swinging the hammer. Zachary already down, and Fusion's ready to come off the top rope. This is where you can just jump on down, drop the Earth Shatter. I'm not sure if Fusion's even ready to go on in right now. They're awfully scattered. A minute has gone by, alarm is down, and Beast Halo soon to follow. Uses a Primal Rage, but, oh, hammer down, and that is one Winston flying without any purpose towards the end. Fusion, though, still working their way in. Beast Halo still alive in the situation. This actually could turn the way of Fusion as respawns come on in.
Backlacker's got the ultimate as well, going to drop it out here just to try and see if he can secure anything. The answer is no. But as soon as he gets back into mech, he's knocked straight back out by Hurricane.
Respawn's not able to come in quite as often. In fact, Backlacker could be taken on a long, staggering ride. And time starting to be not on the Fusion side. This tank heavy set of the Hurricane is giving them all they can match and more, which means that Tridd on the desk is going to be insufferable.
He's insufferable already. But
yeah.
when EU are winning 2-0, you know exactly what's coming at halftime.
I mean, if he had hair, he'd be going Super Saiyan. That's what I'm saying right now. It's like if Nappa could go Super Saiyan. I don't even know what that looks like, but Craggy got alarm, and the dive from the Hurricane with this quad tank works out. The contradiction is real in my voice as I speak it. Who are you with the blade on the other end? God, Bok. But that's not going to be enough.
Unfortunately, one kill, as we've come to learn in the EU, it's not enough for a Genji to be worth the investment, which is so often why we see Tracer being the prominent go-to dive-based DPS. But let's see now if they can make anything happen. A minute 40 left on the clock. That's only 100 seconds EV before we find ourselves in a 2-0 scenario.
Kib under pressure right now, able to take a breather, shake it off. Halfical gonna drop the self-destruct over the top. Is he gonna connect? No, but it's gonna let him get back into the mech. Meanwhile, Craggy got the better of alarm. Zachary desperately trying to fight the other way, but Fusion running out of options here. Hyoyu was so damaged he had to back out early, and they just can't pierce through this tanky setup of the Hurricane.
Feels at this point we're going to have to take that Giganti logo and wedge it between the words EU and NA, because that's how things are starting to look. This is consistently going to the side of Hurricane, just constantly refuting every single attack. Anything that Fusion University are finding, they are dealing with it. In the final minute, Who Are You is going to bring out a new pick. We haven't seen that this weekend. It's going to be the Pharah.
Well, you got to try something here, and Who Are You? He is a pretty good Pharah, but pulling it out last moment, you haven't been practicing it. This could be a stretch even for the Fusion. Early Pulse Bomb Stick coming on out, doesn't get the kill. Alarm, though, under pressure, healed up by Elk. Elk ends up sacrificing himself to keep Alarm in the fight. Beast Halo already down. And who are you? Not using too much as far as Kim turns this into a slaughterhouse right on the side. The whole hog laying down the bacon.
Who are you? Completely isolated from Elk, finds himself getting dropped by Happy Cool, and it feels now this is just hunting for fun as they trace down the final few members, stagger Fusion University out, and with 20 seconds left on the clock, this could be over before we know it.
15 seconds remaining. The Hurricane on the verge of a first point hold, showing their companions across the pond how Quad Tank is played. That sentence caused me physical pain.
I saw you wince as you said that.
It's not easy, but the self-destructor on the top, Happy Cool looking for the bomb. God, Elk! What a pickoff to start off the fight. Soundbear coming in here for the Hurricane now, and that might be all they need to solidify. The Fusion are dropping one by one.
Commiseration kill, we should say, onto Craggy there, but nope, Hurricane will reign supreme. It's 2-0 going into the half.
So, I need to warn our viewers right now about our halftime show that's not our normal PG-rated programming. No, our desk, it's gonna be rated I for insufferable.
Insufferable and about as much suffering as you, Fusion University, experienced during these two maps. I gotta say, man, it's okay. We'll find someone you can talk to afterwards to get those hard feelings out. We'll look after you. We're very accommodating here in EU.
I wonder how much it costs to hire a therapist for a cross-Atlantic flight after this, because I might need one.
I know just the guy for you. His name begins with T, it ends in D, and he's sat on the desk.
Oh boy. Well, guys, we're gonna go to a break. I'm gonna try and recover my pride. So will Fusion. We'll be right back.